Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, October 9th, 2025, the time being 12:09 p.m. My name is Amy Croto, Senior Natural Resource Officer and Hearing Officer assigned to today's dog hearing. I'll read into the record the letter of the hearing regarding the matter Mashpee Animal Control versus Horblit, dated September 23rd, 2025, to Mr. Jeffery Horblit of 29 Admirals Lane, Osterville, Mass. 02655. Dear Mr. Horblit, I've scheduled a hearing under the provisions of Chapter 140, Section 157 of the Mass General Laws on Thursday, October 9th, 2025 at noon, based on a complaint received regarding a dog harbored by you. The complaint states that the dog is dangerous, which is in violation of the Town of Barnstable dog regulations, specifically Chapter 403-17. The hearing will take place at Town Hall 367 Main Street, Hyannis, in the Selectmen's Conference Room on the second floor. You'll be given every opportunity to be heard at this time. I request that you make every effort to attend this hearing. Sincerely, Mark S.L.'s Town Manager. This was delivered in hand by by Animal Control Officer Cynthia Sherman to Jeffery and Laura Horblit on the 27th of September at 10:30 in the morning. All those providing testimony today, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you're about to give in this matter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
So Mr. Chicoine, we'll hear from you first as the complainant.
All right. It's kind of a lengthy report, so bear with me. On 8/27/25 at approximately 18:14 hours, I received a call from Kaylee Cullen, owner of Cape Cod Dog Center. Cullen advised me that there was a dog bite incident at the facility and she was on vacation. Cullen stated that a dog that was attacked is deceased and the female employee does not know what to do. I advised Cullen that I was going to call the police department and have a sector car respond to Cape Cod Dog Center to see what had happened. At approximately 18:17, I spoke to dispatcher Barry Good and advised him of the call I received from Cullen. I asked dispatcher Good if he could send a sector car to Cape Cod Dog Center to confirm if there has been an incident. I advised Good to contact me if I need to respond to CCDC. At approximately 18:38, I spoke to dispatcher Good and was advised to respond to Cape Cod Dog Center. There was a dog bite incident and there was a deceased dog on scene. I advised Barry that I was in Plymouth and I would head to Cape Cod Dog Center. At approximately, that's a misprint, but at approximately 1840 hours, sorry, I spoke to Sergeant Juco on the phone. Sergeant Juco advised me that the two dogs were involved in the incident, that one of the dogs is deceased in a hallway. I advised Sergeant Juco that I was en route to his location from Plymouth. At approximately 1912, I arrived at CCDC and Sergeant Juker and Officer Demetrius were standing outside the front door. Officer Demetrius gave me a list of the employees on scene and Sergeant Juker advised me that the biting dog was secured in the kennel and the deceased dog was still in the hallway. I entered Cape Cod Dog Center through the front door and observed Andy Vives behind the front desk. Vives is the daytime shift leader at the facility. I also observed the female behind the counter, later identified as Tiffany Ann St. Hilaire. St. Hilaire had injuries to both her hands from trying to separate the dogs from the incident. The male was identified as Daniel Evan Pollock, an employee of Cape Cod Dog Center. I advise if I can get the owner's information for both dogs involved. I asked St. Hilaire to step outside so I can speak with her regarding the incident. St. Hilaire stated that she was putting Wyatt into a kennel. When she opened the door to the kennel, Buddy was inside and came out into the hallway. St. Hilaire stated that she did not know that Buddy was in the kennel. She tried to grab Wyatt, but he ran around her and went after Buddy. Wyatt was biting Buddy, and she tried to separate the dogs, but wasn't able to. St. Hilaire went to get Pollock to help her with the dogs. Both employees tried to separate both dogs. When Wyatt let go of Buddy, Wyatt was placed into the kennel. Buddy was lying on the hallway floor motionless. St. Hilaire called Kaylee Cullen to report the incident. I asked St. Hilaire how her hands were, and she stated that she was going to clean the wounds at home and put antibiotic on the injuries. I went back in the Cape Cod Dog Center and went to the door to the hallway where the kennels are kept. I observed a brown and white Boston Terrier, Buddy, laying on the carpet next to the wall with a light tan collar around his neck. I observed approximately 1.5 inch hole in Buddy's left rib area and blood on his neck, left rib, and torso area. There was a blue collar laying on the floor next to him. I entered the hallway and observed a brown dog, Wyatt, in the first kennel. Wyatt was growling and slowly moving towards the kennel door, ears tucked and staring at me. Wyatt's teeth were showing and continued to growl. And Buddy is a brown and white Boston Terrier. Andy Vise was at the entrance of the hallway. I advised Vise to secure the kennel door so it could not be opened by accident, and that Wyatt was showing aggression. Vise secured the latch to the kennel with a leash clip. I advised Vise to put a note on the door advising the employees not to enter that kennel. I went to the front lobby and observed a male and female standing outside the front door of Cape Cod Dog Center. I spoke with both parties and identified them as Courtney Germani and Caleb Finlayson. They responded to Cape Cod Dog Center in regards to Buddy. At that time, I advised both parties of the incident and that Buddy was deceased. They also advised me that the owner of the dog, later identified as Jim Mills of Miles, was on vacation and did not have cell service. They had left voicemails and texts with Miles to give them a call. Finlayson advised me that there was a second dog that was being boarded at the facility. The other dog was named Junior. And they wanted to take him home. I went inside and told Vise that Finlayson wanted to take Junior with him. Vise and I walked to the kennel area where the incident happened. Junior was located in a kennel near the end of the hallway. I observed a black and white boxer. It wasn't a boxer, it was another terrier sitting in the kennel. While we were in the hallway, Wyatt continued to growl. Vise picked up Junior and carried him outside to Finlayson and returned the dog's belongings. I went inside Cape Cod Dog Center and asked Pollock if he could speak outside. I asked Pollock what he observed or heard during the incident. Pollock stated that he was working and heard St. Hilaire yelling for him. Pollock went to the hallway and observed Wyatt biting Buddy in the midsection. Wyatt had Buddy and was shaking him. They tried to get Wyatt to let go of Buddy, but when Wyatt let go of Buddy, Wyatt was placed into the kennel. Pollock stated that Buddy was not moving and appeared deceased. I called Cape Cod veterinary specialist in Bourne. I advised them of the situation and if they could assist with taking Buddy until I can make contact with the owner and see what the wishes were for his dog. They advised me that they would take Buddy until the owner was contacted, and they would do an external examination of the dog while he was there. I spoke to Germani and Finlayson and advised them that CCVC, Cape Cod Vet Specialist, will be taking Buddy until Miles has been contacted. I advised them where CCVC is located. I called and spoke to Cullen by phone. I advised Cullen that Buddy was being transported to Cape Cod Vet Specialist and that Wyatt is quarantined at Cape Cod Dog Center until the owner is contacted. Wyatt's owner was also on vacation. Buddy was transported to Cape Cod Vet Specialist. I advised them I will make contact with them when I have more information. On 8/28/25 at approximately 0943, I left a voicemail with Barnstable Animal Control to return my call. At approximately 11:23, I spoke to Germani on the phone. Germani said that she spoke to Miles' daughter, and they decided to wait till tomorrow, 8/29/25, to advise Miles of the incident with Buddy. I advised Germani that they could contact me anytime to speak with me. At approximately 11:57, Cullen contacted me to advise me that she had landed at the airport. Wyatt's owner, Jeff Horblit, has been informed of the incident and was trying to return home. Cullen also stated that she will pay for any bill that Cape Cod Veterinary Specialist from that Cape Cod Specialist. I advised Cullen that I would let them know and will give them her contact info. I advised Cullen that I would like the video recording of the incident. She advised me once she is back, she will review the system and see what she can find. At approximately 12:45, I spoke with Tara at Cape Cod's veterinary specialist. Tara advised me that they could keep Buddy for 7 days if needed. I advised Tara that the owner, Miles, will be home tomorrow and that the family is going to wait to tell him about Buddy. At approximately 14:29, I went to Cape Cod Dog Center for a follow-up. I spoke with Andy Vise regarding the vaccination records for Wyatt and Buddy. Vise was unable to locate the paperwork, but did inform me that Wyatt's veterinarian is Osterville Veterinary Clinic. I advised Vise that I would get Buddy's information from the family. Vise advised me that the owner of Wyatt is sending his son to pick up the dog and bring Wyatt home. I advised Vise to get the son's contact information when he picks up the dog. I asked Vyse how Wyatt has been since the incident, and Vyse stated that Wyatt has calmed down. At approximately 14:15, I spoke to Simi Sherman, Barnstable Animal Patrol, on the phone. I advised Sherman that the incident regarding Wyatt. Sherman checked the records and found on June 30, 2025, they received a report that Wyatt got out of the fence and attacked the cat. Sherman stated that the cat had two surgeries to this date. Sherman will forward the report for reference. At approximately 1500, I spoke to Wyatt's owner, Jeff Horblit, on the phone. Horblit stated that his son, William Horblit, will be picking up Wyatt at Cape Cod Dog Center this afternoon and will be staying at 29 Emeralds Lane in Austinville. I advised Jeff that I will contact Barnstable Animal Control and they will be issuing the quarantine. Jeff advises that they are in Alaska and trying to get back home. They should be arriving within a day or two. I advised Jeff to contact me if there are any concerns or questions. I called Austinville Veterinary Clinic and confirmed that Wyatt's a 4-year-old blackmouth cure pit bull mix. The rabies expires June 13, 2026. At approximately 1801, Cynthia Sherman, Barnstable Animal Control, forwarded me the report involving Wyatt and a cat named Reba. The report is dated 6/30/25. At 8:29:25, at approximately 10 o'clock, I met Kaylee Cullen at Cape Cod Dog Center. Cullen and I went to their office and reviewed the video of the incident. I asked Cullen if there has been any issues with Wyatt while has been going to daycare at the facility. Cullen stated that there has been no issues with Wyatt. I asked Cullen if the owner of Wyatt has ever advised her of any issues with Wyatt in the past. Cullen replied no. I asked Cullen if she knew about an incident with Wyatt in the town of Barnstable back in June of this year regarding a cat. Cullen replied no. Wyatt would have been removed from the facility. I requested a copy of the video from Cullen. Cullen reported that Cape Cod Dog Center had 13 dogs on site for overnight boarding. Per Mashpee bylaw, CCDC was in compliant with the employee-to-dog ratio 15:1. There were 2 employees working at when the incident occurred. At approximately 14:13 hours, I spoke to Cindy Sherman, Barnstable Animal Patrol. I advised Sherman that Jeff Horblit's son, William, will be picking up Wyatt from Cape Cod Dog Center and bringing it to Jeff's house in Austinville today. I also faxed over a portion of my report regarding the incident. A short time later, I spoke to William Horblit on the phone. William advised me that he picked up Wyatt from Cape Cod Dog Center and will be bringing him to Jeff's house. William stated that he will be with Wyatt until Jeff comes home from vacation. I advised William that I will contact Barnstable Animal Control to give him the information where Wyatt will be. Barnstable Animal Control will be issuing the quarantine on Wyatt. On 8/30/25 at approximately 17:42, I spoke to Caleb on the phone. Caleb stated that he spoke with Miles, Buddy's owner, and that Miles does not want Wyatt euthanized. Miles did not want another family to go through losing their pet like they are. Caleb did state that they will let the police do their investigation and deem the appropriate outcome of the dog. I advised Caleb that there will be a dangerous dog hearing request and that the hearing officer will make the decision on the outcome of Wyatt. I advised Caleb that I will make contact with him when that gets scheduled. On 9/2/25 at approximately 09:25 hours, dispatch informed me that Jeff Horblit was in the lobby and wanted to speak with me. I escorted Horblit to the side interview room of the hallway to the lobby. Horblit inquired what would be expected due to the incident. Horblit did state that Barnstable Animal Control issued the quarantine on Wyatt. Horblit stated that Wyatt was sent to a 3-week training course when he was younger. Wyatt was well behaved during the training and there has been no issues with him. I explained to Horblit that the owner of Buddy does not want Wyatt euthanized due to the incident. I advised Horblit that there will be a dangerous dog hearing requested for Wyatt. I also advised Horblit that he will be contacted when it's scheduled in the process of the hearing. Horblit asked if he could review the video. I advised Horblit that I received the video from Cape Cod Dog Center. Horblit watched the video of the incident. I advised Horblit not to board Wyatt in a daycare setting and to keep him home. Horblit said that Wyatt will not be going back. I advised Horblit that he had any questions, concerns, he can contact me. At approximately 10:32, I spoke to Charles Lewis, Senior Barnstable Animal Control Officer. I spoke to Lewis regarding the incident with Wyatt. Lewis stated that he was advised of the incident and knows the dog. I advised Lewis that they would request a dangerous dog hearing for Wyatt. Lewis advised me that he could not request a hearing, but someone else could request one. Due to Wyatt living in the town of Barnstable, I will be forwarding my report to Barnstable requesting Barnstable Animal Control to conduct a dangerous dog hearing per Massachusetts General Law 147. I left a voicemail for Tiffany St. Hilaire to return my call regarding the incident. On 090825 at approximately 1100 hours, I went to Cape Cod Dog Center and spoke with St. Hilaire about the incident. St. Hilaire stated that she did not know the Boston Terriers were in the kennel and when she opened the door. St. Hilaire's wounds have healed and she is okay. I spoke to Kaylee Cullen regarding Wyatt. Cullen stated that Wyatt has been boarding at Cape Cod Dog Center for approximately 5 years and there has been no issues. Cullen will be changing the protocols on how dogs are kenneled. Cullen advised me that they have a dog break stick on site. And then I go into the video timeline. Do we just want to watch that video instead of going through every?
It's a pretty jarring video
Yeah.
that I'm not sure we need to be like posting on the town
Right.
website for the general public to view. I do have a copy of the video
Okay.
for my review as hearing
Right.
officer following this, but if you want to briefly go through the timeline, just in the interest of the fact that we only have 35 minutes left in this room.
Yeah, because it's pretty. I mean, it's 12 pages long. So.
Okay, so then why don't we just say, I have the video, I have timestamps for the video, we have these timestamps here, so I can review the video after the fact, but the town does have a copy of it on file for the record.
Okay. All right, so we're just gonna skip that. All right, so I'm just gonna skip the timeline of the video. On 9/8/25, I wrote a letter to Charles Lewis, Barnstable Animal Control, requesting a dangerous dog hearing per Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157. See attached. On 9/10/25 at approximately 11:04, I forwarded my request for the dangerous neighborhood to Barnstable Animal Control via email. At approximately 11:43, I sent a report to Jim Hanlon, Massachusetts Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, MSPCA. Hanlon agreed to review the incident for Cape Cod Dog Center and my report. On 9/11/25 at approximately 09:47 hours, Sherry Gustafson, Program Coordinator of Massachusetts Department of Agri Resources, MDAR, sent an email that she would review the incident with Cape Cod Dog Center. I advised Gustafson that I will forward the video in my report. At approximately 11:28, I spoke to Jim Hanlon on the phone. Hanlon advised me that he reviewed the report and watched the video. He mentioned that there could be a lack of training for the employees, but that would be a civil issue. The employees were seen doing what they could to separate the dogs, and Buddy appears deceased when the dogs were separated. He advised that he did not observe anything criminal in the incident. I thanked Hanlon for his time and opinion on the incident. At approximately 11:35 hours, Jeff and Laura Horblit arrived at the police station. I took them to the side interview room off the hallway to the lobby. The Horblits wanted to watch the video of the incident. Both parties reviewed the video. I advised the Horblits that I sent a request for the dangerous dog hearing to Barnstable Animal Control. I advised them that I have not heard back from them and they could possibly be contacted by them. On 9/11/25, I spoke to Jim Hanlon on the phone. He stated that this is probably in there twice. Yeah, Hanlon agreed there's no neglect by the employees at Cape Cod Dog Center. Both employees reacted to the incident and did what they could to separate the dogs. On 9/16/25, I sent an email to Barnstable Animal Control to follow up with the dangerous dog hearing. I requested Charles Lewis, Senior Animal Control Officer, sent an email back saying that they're in the process of getting a date on the hearing and to drop off the video of the incident. The dangerous dog hearing has been scheduled for October 9th, 25 at 12 p.m. The hearing will take place at the Barnstable Town Hall. And then Cape Cod Dog Center was in compliance with the kennel restrictions that are in place. I recommend the following. Place dog breaks sticks in the main hallway to help separate dogs that are involved in the incident. Place signs on the kennels when they're in use and employees visibly check before placement of dogs. Ongoing training for the employees regarding separating dogs during the incident and separate large and small dogs during kennel placement. and my report's not finished, it's still ongoing as far as Big Five Dog Center and my recommendations.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Horblit?
I want to begin. I have a prepared statement. I've submitted that to you, incorporate that as part of the record. And I'm going to paraphrase. I'm going to read it, but I'm going to paraphrase it. Hopefully we'll get through it. I know we only have a little bit of time left, so I'm going to try and condense this. But in the interest of you having all the information you need, I want to make sure I highlight the important parts of the statement.
Understood.
Okay. There's been some references to certain things in the report that's been offered by the officer, so I want to make sure that we address those. Wyatt is a black-mouthed cur. He's not a pit bull mix. We adopted him in 2022 when he was 1.5 years old. I've attached as Exhibit A the actual adoption papers that indicate what his actual breed is, and that makes clear that he's a black-mouthed cur. In the letter that accompanied his adoption, he was described as a happy, social young guy. He is housed and leash trained and loves to give and receive love from people and other pups. Great dog. You'll see that Exhibit A. He lives with us. He lives with 2 other dogs. And we have never experienced or observed anything concerning or any aggressive behavior among or between Wyatt and his adopted siblings. Shortly after adopting Wyatt, he received professional training from a master dog trainer who also maintains a private kennel in Cape Cod. Thanks to his e-collar training, Wyatt has consistently demonstrated 100% compliance and response to all basic commands while in our presence. Wyatt was and is properly licensed. I've attached a copy of the invoice just so that there's no doubt that he's licensed. And we have veterinary records. Of course, he's up to date. He has been up to date, remains up to date, and he receives all appropriate veterinary care as appropriate. And those records, if for any reason you need them, we're glad to provide them. Notably, on more than one occasion, we brought Wyatt into the vet. We've been told that his file has been marked and that he's known as the best boy ever. He's just that friendly. It's just that's just the reality. My wife and I are experienced dog owners. Since 1995, we've adopted various dogs from various kennels. We have 7 dogs over the course of the last 30 years. During that 30-year period, the dogs have stayed in kennels on more than 100 occasions, vacations every year, and several hundred days when you total it up over 30 years. We've never had an incident with any of our dogs. And prior to August 27th, 2025, as the officer pointed out, and the CCDC concedes, never an issue there. He's been there many, many times, never any issues, and there's a lot of group play there. Never had a problem with any other dogs there. At the time that this occurred, he was in the middle of, I believe it was a 12-day stay. It was the 5th day of 12. So he had been there for 5 days before that, and there had been nothing with other dogs. Now, we selected CCDC because we were informed that CCDC of its protocols and staff training and assured that all the dogs would remain safe and comfortable throughout their stay, and we had no reason to doubt that. We visited, we saw it. Unfortunately, while we reasonably believed that Wyatt and all the other dogs were safe and well cared for by a well-trained and well-equipped staff, the CCT recording of the August 27th incident demonstrates the degree to which our confidence was misplaced. Now, the incident. In his letter to Charles Lewis, dated September 8th, Officer Chacon expressed his concern that Wyatt may be unsafe and the public and other animals might be in danger of some kind. His concern is based largely on the fact that Wyatt was the only surviving dog of a dogfight. And following that altercation, there appears to be no investigation as to what actually occurred. There appears to be no understanding of all the important facts and circumstances that led to that altercation. I'm going to touch on them in a second, but it's disappointing that we have this sort of a thing happen and that we simply conclude based on the results that somehow the dog is dangerous. I get it, it's important, it's a horrible thing that happened, but I think it's important to always gather your facts, make sure we understand what we're talking about. The good news is, fortunately, the entire incident is captured on video surveillance, okay? Now, the video surveillance demonstrates that it describes, I know we're pushed for time, it describes an encounter. I've taken the time, and I know you will too, when you go frame by frame, and I've attached the exhibits, you'll see them. This is a very different encounter than what has been described here. There are actually a number of points where I felt it necessary to point it out to you and I'm just gonna touch on those as well here. The video recording speaks for itself. A careful review of that recording depicts an encounter among 4 dogs, not 2. There's 4 dogs present, okay? Inexplicably, I refer to the young woman who was inside as SM1, staff member 1. They want to use her name in the report. I didn't know how important that was for privacy purposes. So I've referred to her as SM1. Inexplicably, SM1 initiated and supervised the introduction. She lets the 2 Boston Terriers out of their cage while Wyatt and our other dog, Georgia, is there. So you'll see the video. She comes in, the staff member comes in with Wyatt and Georgia. They're running free, happy, everything's fine. For whatever reason, unwisely, the staff member opens the cage and lets the other 2 Boston Terriers to join Wyatt and Georgia. It's a small room, but it becomes even smaller when the dogs go to the end of the hallway where you enter, and the staff member pulls the door to the cage, and she's holding that. So she creates a confined area that's really difficult for anybody to imagine that that's a good idea. I've attached that. I provided a little sketch for you to see just, how locked in they are. Not good. The extent to which Officer Chacon relied on that officer's statement is unclear, but it's clear that his assertion that Wyatt aggressively went after Buddy in a hallway located in one of the kennel areas omits several important facts and is clearly intended to portray Wyatt as a dangerous dog without the facts and circumstances that demonstrate otherwise. While the video recording speaks for itself, a frame-by-frame analysis provides crucial details regarding the interactions among and between the 4 dogs prior to the escalation and confrontation. According to the CCTV recording timer, so it's not the clock, it's not the date and timestamp at the bottom are the numbers that I'm referring to here. And there's only a few that I'm going to refer to. At 3:48, SM1 enters the room accompanied by 2 happy unleashed dogs, and that's Wyatt and Georgia. At 3:53, while Georgia and Wyatt are exploring the room, SM1 inexplicably and unwisely decided to open one of the cages and release the other dogs. I mentioned that. Both of those dogs are Boston Terriers. Initially, the 4 dogs briefed and sniffed and explored each other, as dogs would be expected to do. By 4:02, the 4 dogs are interacting in that confined area. You'll see it on the video. You'll see it in my sketch. It's just circumstances for some reason. They go to that room, and because the staff member decides to open the door, she was opening the cage, she's now really confined the dogs to a small area. At 3:53, while Wyatt and Georgia were exploring the room, we talked about that. By 4:02, the 4 unleashed dogs were interacting in a confined space with the cage door closed, which makes it difficult to open and the room door closed. And I've attached Exhibit C. You'll see it's a diagram and a screenshot to give you an idea what it is. At 4:03, SM1 took hold of Wyatt's collar, led him towards and nearly put him in the cage. You see him complying. He's heading into the cage. At 4:08, just prior to Wyatt entering the cage, both the staff worker and Wyatt's attention were drawn to the interaction between Georgia and Buddy. Georgia's our other dog. Buddy, of course, is the deceased. That was taking place behind them. You'll see on the video, she's holding the door. She's turning this way, looking behind her, as is Wyatt. And Buddy and Georgia are mixing it up a little bit. They're interacting. I'll leave it to you. The video speaks for itself. But they're interacting with each other. It looks like they're just posturing. It's that kind of thing. Although the video doesn't include audio, it appears that Georgia and Buddy are physically posturing and vocally asserting themselves. At 4:11, Buddy redirected his attention from Georgia to Wyatt and approaches Wyatt's face as the staff member was attempting to put Wyatt in the cage, still trying to put her in the cage. At 4:13, Buddy appears to bite Wyatt's face. There's a very clear picture of that. I've given you both the screenshot and then a large, that's Exhibit E, I believe. Yes, that's Exhibit E. That doesn't make Buddy a bad dog, don't get me wrong, but that's what happened. All right, so Buddy bites his face. Wyatt doesn't immediately react. He pulls away. And then as Buddy makes his way back away, and then Wyatt sort of turns in the other direction, okay? I've also attached an exhibit of the injury, it's Exhibit F, of Wyatt's nose, the cut where he was, that's taken by my son the following day. So it's a photo of the actual injury to his face where he's bitten, where Wyatt was bitten. As SM1, staff member 1 attempted to put Wyatt by his collar, the collar slipped off. Wyatt moved to the confined area with Buddy behind him. It's sort of, I don't know what was going on, but Buddy almost looks like he's sniffing the back of Wyatt. Wyatt moves away, he's behind Wyatt. They move to the confined area. At 4:17, while within the confined area, Wyatt turns around, and at that point, he's face to face with Buddy. They're nose to nose, actually. SM1 placed her leg between them. There's a wall there, so she puts her leg there. She's trying to use her leg in the wall to prevent them from getting to each other. They're nose to nose, they're sniffing each other, whatever they're doing. But that was ineffective. And at 4:19, Buddy and Wyatt square off. You can see they're sort of preparing. And moments later, the fight begins. Now, sadly, the fight ended in tragedy, and there's no understate. There's no way to I certainly don't want to overlook that significance. From the outset, it's clear from the video recording that the CCDC staff personnel were unprepared and ill-equipped to manage the dogs as the situation unfolded and escalated in their presence. Regrettably, SM1's decision to release Buddy and Junior from their cage and initiate the encounter with Georgia and Wyatt, coupled with her inability to prevent the confrontation or effectively intervene after it started, raises important questions. I'm not going to get into that here now, but there's certainly important questions there. In fact, at one point during the confrontation, SM1 appears to leave the room. She comes up, she leaves you can't see her in the camera, I don't know if there's something there, but I believe she leaves the room and leaves the dogs fighting. She returns shortly thereafter with a male member, I refer to him as SM2, who was equally unprepared and ill-equipped to end the confrontation. The two of them just were not capable of doing it. Whether that speaks to training, I'll leave that to others to decide, but certainly they did not appear to be well-trained or equipped to handle that kind of a situation. Importantly, after the incident, we're responsible dog owners. If there's a problem with Wyatt, I need to know. I got 2 other dogs at home too, and people come. So we brought him back to our dog trainer. Brought him to the dog trainer. We informed him of the incident with Buddy. We told him about the prior cat, and we asked him to observe and evaluate Wyatt. We left Wyatt with him for 3 days to conduct this assessment and evaluation. At the conclusion of the assessment, the trainer opined, he gave us his opinion, that Wyatt is neither unsafe nor dangerous, and that Wyatt was welcome to stay at the trainer's kennel at any time. In fact, shortly thereafter, we took a vacation. We left Alaska early, so we took a couple more days vacation, and he stayed at the trainer's kennel for 5 days without incident. The unfortunate incident on the video depicts dogs smelling, posturing, and probably making noises during the exploration of each other, but I submit that it would be unfair and unreasonable to conclude Wyatt initiated the aggressive physical contact. I don't think there's any question when you watch the video, especially when you see the blown up screenshots, that he is not the initiator. That first bite I would say was the initiation. Further, while certainly saddened by Buddy's death, there was adequate justification for Wyatt to respond. The dog bites him, he responds. Indeed, I believe the video recording demonstrates that Wyatt was protecting or defending himself as cited under Mass Law 141, Section 157. Obviously, Wyatt was the bigger and stronger dog, but that alone is not a basis to conclude that he was unjustified in responding to the threat that he perceived. Moreover, based on all the facts and circumstances, I respectfully submit that Wyatt did not, quote, behave in a manner that a reasonable person would believe possesses an unjustified or imminent threat of physical injury or death to a person or domestic animal. And of course, I'm tracking the language from Chapter 140, Section 136A. For those reasons, I ask that you dismiss the complaint without further action. I will point out that, and I am done, so that's the good news. Exhibit A is the actual photo of the bite. I think that's critical. And F is, we'll show you the wound. And then the interaction with Georgia and Buddy beforehand, you'll see that they're mixing up as well. So there's a lot going on. It's not quite as simple as one might believe as it's described. I mean, the way the story, frankly, the way the story is told to me initially, you would have thought Wyatt had sprinted across the parking lot and attacked, you know, it's a very different story than what I heard. I was not aware, I don't recall being told about not having Wyatt in a kennel. We didn't put him in it. It says right in the notice that you gave us, he has to stay in the house, and he did. So that, I don't know if there's any confusion there, but when he was
quarantined?
When he was quarantined, he stayed in the house the whole time.
Yeah.
Never left the property. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't have to be confined to a kennel, they just have to stay.
Oh,
on
no,
the
okay,
property.
right, okay.
Yeah.
No,
But
what Officer Chapoint said was that he told,
that was afterwards. I mean, Wyatt went afterwards, after the quarantine was
No, I know.
over, so. But anyway, I have nothing else, I'm sorry.
no, the only thing that I would ask, and we have it in here in a footnote, is I find that this incident report, and specifically the interview of the Cape Cod Dog Center employee is so misleading and so inaccurate, and you can see that for yourself from the video, that I would ask that it be stricken and redacted from the public record, because it is just it cannot be a true representation of what actually happened.
Okay.
Thank you, appreciate that.
No problem. Senior Animal Control Officer Charlie Lewis.
Okay. We note that the hearing notice was served in hand by Officer Sherman on 9/27 at 10:30 a.m. 45. I received a number of reports, exhibits involving this incident. I think it's important to note black-mouthed curs are inherently aggressive, but protective and territorial. They are high drive, which can lead to aggression if not properly socialized, trained, or managed. It's recommended early, consistent socialization is critical for both to get along with other animals and strangers. So I do have a picture of a black-mouthed cur as well. Fair representation, I think, of this particular dog. Not having the privilege to interview the participants at the kennel, it makes it difficult to form an opinion on any of this. So we have to rely on the written submissions by all the parties. And I tend to agree that the situation got out of hand probably by the inexperience of the individuals. I don't know what kind of training they receive, so it is difficult to, judge that. I think the video does speak clearly to the situation, and I think once reviewed, we'll have a better understanding of what took place and how it took place. That's it.
Okay. Animal Control Officer Cynthia Sherman. Okay. Oh, you're not sworn in, right? Are you planning on providing testimony?
Sure.
Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you're about to give in this matter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Cynthia Sherman, Animal Control Officer, I don't have too much to add other than I took the initial report from Mashpee and I did issue the quarantine order at the house. I have met Wyatt with his other, siblings at the house. I have watched the video as well, and I agree with Officer Lewis' statements of the incident that got out of control, and I guess that's really about it. Obviously there were not interviews with the staff and things like that, but.
Okay. Director Coleman, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I do have two questions. Sir, with regard to your trainer,
Yeah.
did he or she submit any formal written evaluation
No.
of your dog?
No.
Okay, so you're speaking on behalf of that person in your exhibit?
He offered to write a letter.
Yeah.
But the timing of this hearing, he said he was traveling. he would try to get to it, but he wasn't sure he could. So that's why purposely, this is the best I can do. I will certainly reach out to him and get that letter if I can.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, super. And then, Madam, you said that you wanted information redacted from this report. Are you speaking to the piece of the report that the officer didn't read where it was like blow by blow what the video was showing, or was there
No.
something in specific? I just want to clarify that statement that you made.
The part where Saint Hilaire, the employee, where she describes the incident, and what she said was that Wyatt was in the kennel and she opened the door and Wyatt attacked Buddy. That's clearly not what happened. It's that part.
That one paragraph. Okay,
Yes.
thank you for clarifying.
See, in defense of that, when something like this occurs, people's minds race.
No question.
And
Yeah, I agree.
No
when you question them right then and there, it's not always 100% accurate.
No, and my only concern is that it's now a matter of public record and it's not correct.
Understood. I actually, public comment, because we
Okay.
do have a member of the public here. If you could just please state your name.
My name is Cassie Lemire. I'm sorry about your incident. Good afternoon. I'm here because I am an animal lover and I feel passionate about this situation. My dog Mo, a 7-year-old Newfoundland, died at Cape Cod Dog Center on August 30th, 2024. His cause of death was bloat as an end result of the tragic events leading up to his death. My husband Peter and I, in an agreement with the owner, Kaylee Cullen of Cape Cod Dog Center, we were told that Mo and Joy would never be kenneled, and if she would fulfill this agreement, if she couldn't fulfill it, we would take our dogs elsewhere. Ms. Cullen assured us that she would provide us with a request and neither dog would be kenneled at any time. This did not happen and Mo passed away because of neglect and improper training to her employees. On the day before Mo's death, he was locked in a kennel for 8 hours. He had no water, no AC, no windows, and all he could hear was the sounds of movement outside the area that he could not see. A former employee asked Ms. Cullen's manager, Andy Viles, if Mo could be moved behind the office where he was supposed to be, as he had messed his kennel, and Andy said no. When Mo was finally let out of his kennel at approximately 5:45, one of the employees took him for a walk, immediately fed him, and gave him access to all the water he wanted. This was the perfect storm that led to Mo's death. We were awarded by Ms. Cullen's insurance company a sum of money, and there was a settlement and adjudication. I watched the video of Mo suffering for 10 hours before he succumbed to his death. He immediately started to show signs of bloat while the employees were still present at Cape Cod Dog Center. He walked from door to door seeking attention, and no one came back to check on him or his daughter. Here are the words from Mashpee's Animal Control Officer, Don Chicoine himself. Quote, "There is a lack of leadership within the facility. The facility is understaffed and there is overboarding at Cape Cod Dog Center. The employees have a large workload with little help. The employees are not trained in regards to different types of dogs and what you can and cannot do with these certain breeds. Examples, exercise, feeding, and water consumption. I recommended that Cullen address the multiple issues that have been discovered during this investigation. I find the dogs at this facility are not getting the proper attention due to these issues," end quote. These were the words of Don Chicoine, the Animal Control Officer of Mashpee. The town set in place a 1:15 ratio. This was to be overseen by the ACO to make sure Ms. Cullen was in compliance with the new bylaw, 1 full-time employee to 15 dogs at all times. After requesting the reports since January 2025, the ACO, Don Chicoine, only visited Cape Cod Dog Center 3 times. I also received reports of incidents that took place at Cape Cod Dog Center. There have been multiple altercations between dogs, bites between dogs, and even an employee to having to seek medical treatment at Stoneman Urgent Care in Sandwich at least 7 more times since January 2025. These were the reported ones. I'm not sure about the unreported. My reason for writing you today is to tell you not only Mo's story, but to show you that nothing has changed at Cape Cod Dog Center. I told the town of Mashpee it was not if, but when another dog would die. This breaks my heart that another dog has died and there is one pending, another dog like Mo set up for demise. The failure is with both the Cape Cod Dog Center and the town of Mashpee, who is responsible for overseeing the Cape Cod Dog Center is in compliance with running a commercial kennel. The town of Mashpee has multiple reports from past clients, employees, whose dogs have suffered from bites and illnesses from Cape Cod Dog Center. All you have to do is read the reports and the words from them and get the reports from the Mashpee's animal control officer. Thank you.
Mr. Shakorian?
I was just gonna make comment with what you were talking about. When I interviewed the lady, that was a statement she gave me right after the incident. So that's something I can't redact, that's something that was told to me during the investigation, so that's why it's in the report. I mean, obviously, when you have the video, things are gonna be slightly different because, you know, things do get said a little bit out of when it happened, because everybody's in heightened emotional state, so.
Understood.
That was
I
taken
think
right after the
for the
incident.
purposes of this dog hearing, as I review the actual video, I can check with the legal department to see if at least on our end, if there are inconsistencies, that those inconsistencies can be blacked out of the report. If there's like a future, Freedom of Information Act request. But again, I need to review the video very closely with the timelines that are submitted on both sides. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
The only thing I would just say is this is not a case about bad dogs, including Buddy, the initiation by Buddy. This case isn't about bad dogs, or Wyatt, of course. It's about a bad situation.
Sure.
It's a situation that, should not have happened. So it's, I have nothing further, but thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Understood.
If I can just add something real quick. When I stated in here about the lack of training, it wasn't just myself that saw that. Don Chacoin saw it. He put it in the report. They're understaffed, they're overcrowded, and there's not proper training. When my dog died of bloat, she didn't even know what bloat was. This is the owner. Okay? So these I feel bad for the employees. I do. She's off on vacation, and this is why these things happen. Okay? I feel bad for the employees. A lot of them have quit. They left because of her, because there's not proper training. And these kids, and most of them are kids, high school teenagers, that are left in a situation that I as an adult could not even handle. And without proper training on top of that, and without the animal control officer overseeing this and only going there 3 times since 115 has been put into place, the town of Mashpee needs to do a better job. That's all I'm gonna say. Or we're gonna have another incident, not if, but when.
Understood.
I hope the town of Mashpee does.
So as it pertains to this in particular situation, I feel I've heard everyone adequately.
Yes.
So at this time, 12:56, I will close the hearing and we'll review the footage, and then we'll forward the recommendation for town manager review.
Thank you.
Should have a response from him typically within 10 business days, which would be hand delivered to you and then mailed to you.
Okay.
Okay?
And then how could I receive that after? Requesting from you or requesting from Mashpee?
Either way,
Okay,
yeah, because
all
if there is a town manager order that's issued, like any determination, it becomes a matter of public record, so a Freedom of Information Act request, once it's in place, would be
Perfect.
suitable.
Perfect, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you all for your time.
It'll be attached to my report too, so.